Today we are looking at 5 major fixtures, and every single one of them carries a different kind of pressure.
Some are about title ambition. Some are about maintaining dominance at home. Some are emotional rivalries.
And some are classic bananaskin fixtures where the bigger side cannot afford to switch off.
These are not just predictions. This is about understanding how the games will unfold. Let's begin. Nottingham Forest vs Liverpool. When analyzing this match, the first thing you must consider is the environment. Nottingham Forest at home do not try to dominate possession. They do not try to play expansive football. Instead, they rely heavily on structure, discipline, and intensity.
The crowd plays a significant role. Their home ground creates pressure on visiting teams, especially those expected to win.
Forest are strongest when the game is tight. When the match remains level deep into the first half, they grow in confidence.
They press aggressively in phases and look to capitalize on defensive errors rather than build patiently. However, Liverpool approach matches like this with a different mentality. They are used to being the team expected to control the game. They push the tempo early, stretch the pitch, and try to score before the opponent settles. The challenge for Liverpool in fixtures like this is patience. Against compact teams, frustration can build if an early goal does not come.
Forest will likely sit deep and try to force Liverpool into wide areas.
The objective will be to reduce central spaces and make crossing the primary attacking method. If Forest manage to slow the rhythm and break up play, they can create moments on the counterattack. But over 90 minutes, quality and consistency usually win these types of contests. Liverpool tend to find solutions. Even if they concede first, they have shown resilience in turning matches around. Their structure in the second half is typically stronger than their opponents, especially against lower table sides. The key factor here is control. If Liverpool control possession without rushing, they will create chances. If they panic and force passes, Forest will grow stronger. This feels like a competitive match rather than a comfortable one. Forest may score. They will likely have moments of momentum. But overall, Liverpool should avoid defeat. Prediction: Liverpool win or draw. Correct score: 1-2. Barcelona vs Levante. This is a completely different dynamic. Barcelona at home against teams from the lower half of the table usually impose dominance immediately. The tactical approach is direct but controlled. They attempt to suffocate opponents with possession and positional play. Levante typically struggle when defending against teams that move the ball quickly between lines. Their defensive shape can remain organized early, but over time, spaces appear between midfield and defense. Barcelona thrive in those spaces. The first 20 minutes will likely determine the tempo of this game. If Barcelona score early, Levante will have to adjust their approach. Sitting deep after conceding often leads to continuous pressure. Pushing forward to chase the game creates more space behind. Either scenario benefits Barcelona. Levante away from home rarely maintain defensive focus for the full 90 minutes. Concentration dips against elite opposition usually result in multiple goals conceded. Barcelona's home matches against lower-tier teams are typically controlled performances rather than chaotic ones. They rarely allow opponents many clear opportunities. The balance between attack and defensive stability has improved in these types of fixtures. This does not look like a tight contest. It looks like a match that will be decided through territorial dominance and sustained attacking pressure. Prediction: Barcelona win and over 1.5 goals. Correct score: 3-0. FC Porto vs Rio Ave. Now we move to a fixture that often looks straightforward but must still be respected. Porto at home are extremely disciplined. Their matches are built around structure rather than unpredictability. They defend with organization and attack with purpose. There is rarely unnecessary risk in their approach. Rio Ave away from home tend to focus primarily on containment. They often deploy a compact shape, trying to absorb pressure and counter when possible. However, against teams like Porto, long defensive spells become physically and mentally exhausting. The longer Rio Avenue defend, the higher the probability of a mistake. Porto's strength in these fixtures lies in patience. They do not need chaotic football to score. They build gradually, moving opponents side to side until openings appear. The difference in squad depth and overall consistency is significant. Over 90 minutes, Porto's quality typically breaks down resistance. Another important factor is defensive control. Porto are not a side that concede easily at home to mid-table opponents. They manage transitions effectively and limit counterattacks through positional awareness. This looks like a professional performance rather than a dramatic one. Prediction: Porto win and over 1.5 goals. Correct score: 3-0. Celtic vs Hibernian. Celtic at home represent one of the strongest home dynamics in their league. Their approach is aggressive but organized. They press high, dominate possession, and push opponents deep into their own half. The crowd creates additional energy, especially in matches where they are expected to control proceedings. Hibernian can compete in midfield battles, but sustaining defensive concentration against Celtic's constant pressure is difficult. The difference in squad depth becomes more visible as the match progresses. Even if Hibernian defend well in the first half, the second half often exposes fatigue and tactical gaps. Celtic rarely need a chaotic game to secure results. They prefer structure and rhythm. They are comfortable circulating possession and waiting for openings rather than forcing low-percentage shots. Defensively, Celtic are usually solid at home. They concede fewer chances in this environment compared to away fixtures. This looks like a controlled home victory without excessive risk. Prediction: Celtic win. Correct score: 2-0. Tottenham Hotspur vs Arsenal. Now we arrive at the most emotionally charged fixture on this list. This is not just about tactics. It is about mentality. Derby matches ignore form at times. The atmosphere is intense, the pressure is elevated, and small mistakes are punished immediately. Tottenham at home will begin with energy. Expect a strong opening period. Early aggression, fast transitions, and attempts to unsettle their opponents. Arsenal, however, tend to manage these matches through composure. They focus on structure and discipline rather than emotion. The first goal will drastically affect the tempo. If Tottenham score first, the stadium energy increases and the match becomes chaotic. If Arsenal score first, the emotional momentum shifts and Tottenham are forced to take more risks. Arsenal have shown better game management in high-pressure fixtures. Their ability to control phases of possession and reduce chaos gives them a slight advantage in tightly contested games. This will not be comfortable. It will likely be decided by narrow margins in key moments. But discipline often wins derbies. Prediction: Arsenal win. Correct score: 1-2. These are the final selections. Nottingham Forest vs Liverpool. Liverpool win or draw, 1-2. Barcelona vs Levante. Barcelona win and over 1.5 goals, 3-0. FC Porto vs Rio Ave. Porto win and over 1.5 goals, 3-0. Celtic vs Hibernian. Celtic win, 2-0. Tottenham Hotspur vs Arsenal. Arsenal win, 1-2. Study the matches. Understand the structure. And never rely only on team names. Good luck.